at the time, comes out and says, I don't think she was doing it on purpose. That's how she plays. Look,
damn, girl.
She's obviously very sweet. She doesn't at all have any negative intent. Yeah, at all. She doesn't hit hard, and she plays very clean basketball.
White privilege.
And watch what she does to the eyes. You see?
Ooh, wow. The play in the last game, I didn't see the play in real time.
That's her in the back.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Went straight to a press conference.
So you can pause it right there.
And that's her right there.
That's her in the back, and that's the foul.
Here comes kindness.
I stand by them. I will always stand by them.
Amen.
Everybody else can go to hell.
Oh, wait a minute.
Kindness.
Wait a minute.
So you know what? We need kindness.
Grace.
They go high, you go.
Grace.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wholesome Christian. And then she goes, hey, by the way, go to hell, and then you leave.
Walking else is trying to divide our locker room. No, not having your players back will do quite the adequate job.
Patrick bet David didn't waste a moment. He pulled up the footage, stared straight into the camera, and said what many people were already thinking. Stephanie White witnessed that play in real time, yet instead of being honest about it right then, she tried to backtrack days later once the pressure became far too loud to ignore.
DeJounte Carrington clothesline from hell incident the other day, in which she came out and said, "Oh, DeJounte's she's not a dirty player. She just plays real hard. Blah 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 blah." I mean, look, she turns into the Charlie Brown teacher pretty quickly with a lot of people. At least with me, she does. The moment I realize she's going to do it again and not back her own player, yeah, I'm out. I got to tell you, one of the most obvious traits of a terrible leader, not taking any.
Here's where it begins. DJ Carrington goes up for what looks like a block attempt on Sophie Cunningham, and instead catches her across the neck hard enough that Cunningham drops immediately and needs to be checked on by trainers courtside. It's ruled a flagrant 2 on the spot, and Carrington gets ejected before the broadcast even finishes replaying the hit from a second angle.
Immediately, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White walked past her own player Sophie Cunningham to check on DeJounte Carrington after the hard foul.
Nobody in that arena needed a slow-motion replay to know that. It looked bad. If you watch Stephanie White's face on the sideline at the exact second it happens, her eyes are locked on the play. She's not looking down at a clipboard. She's not turned toward an assistant coach. She's watching it live, right as it unfolds a few feet in front of her own bench. That detail matters because a few days later, that's exactly the part of the story Stephanie White tried to quietly rewrite.
A hard foul. I don't think that DeJounte intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did, but it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup, and so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally.
Right after the game, reporters asked Stephanie White about the foul, and she didn't hesitate. She said DJ was going to play her heart out every night, that nobody was walking in for an easy layup against her, and that she personally didn't oppose the hard foul. She even said she didn't think Carrington intentionally went for the neck, despite having just watched the sequence unfold from a few feet away. That's not the response of a coach who missed the play, that's the calculated response of someone protecting a player she personally coached for 2 seasons back in Connecticut.
Can't believe that Stephanie White kind of stood up for Carrington. You would never see Cheryl Reeve, Becky Hammond doing this. You may think something, but you sit in a press conference and say that in front of your team? You don't do that. That's how you lose the team. The team will go against you. What? I'm blown away by that. You can think, oh, I used to coach her, talk to her on the side, whatever, but you don't go on national news and basically put down your own team.
This isn't a coach commenting on a stranger from another franchise. This is someone who built a real relationship with Carrington, someone who ran a locker room with her and knows her competitive edge on a personal level. So, when the moment came to call the foul exactly as it looked, White softened it instead.
Is Fever coach Stephanie White defending DeJounte Carrington over her own player?
That is absolutely bizarre considering you can watch the replay of that and it was absolutely unacceptable what happened to Cunningham. Both Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Collins are wonderful role models for young children and they play the game exceptionally well. Sophie Cunningham said that the hit by DeJournay Carrington was intentional, but Sophie Cunningham's coach sided with Carrington. Carrington is a Chicago Sky Guard that was once coached by White. I just can't understand why the WNBA is not doing more to protect their players. When Stephanie White was interviewed, she said she doesn't oppose the foul, but she definitely doesn't think it was intentional. That Carrington plays her butt off. That's a pretty generous interpretation of what.
The reaction to that press conference was immediate, and it wasn't quiet. Fans sitting courtside were visibly upset the moment the replay appeared on the Jumbotron. Clips of the hit spread across every platform within hours, racking up millions of views by morning. Analysts began asking the same question over and over. How does a flagrant 2 that visibly injures a player get described by that player's own coach as something she doesn't oppose? As the criticism grew louder, the pressure on Stephanie White to say something different from what she'd already said on camera kept building. That mounting pressure directly explains what happened just a few days later, when White suddenly changed her story in front of a completely different set of cameras, with a completely different tone.
I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time.
Were there any
I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back. I ride with them 10 toes down all the time.
3 days after the original incident, Stephanie White stood at a podium again, and her tone had shifted completely. She said she didn't actually see the play develop in real time, explaining that she went straight from the bench to a scheduled press conference and only afterward, once she watched it on replay, realized how egregious it looked. She said she takes it personally when people suggest she doesn't have her players' backs, insisting she rides with every one of them, no exceptions. Here's the problem. Sideline footage from the original broadcast clearly shows her looking directly at the play as it happens. She's not turned away, not distracted by a substitution. She's facing straight at the court with a clear line of sight to the exact spot where the foul occurred. Saying she didn't see it live doesn't line up with what the cameras captured that night. And once people rewatched that sideline angle side by side with their new explanation, the story stopped adding up.
Say about the play in the last game, I didn't see the play in real
That's
time.
her in the back.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Straight to a press conference.
So you can pause it right there.
And that's her right there.
That's her in the back, and that's the foul. What do you mean you can't see the foul?
Unbelievable.
And she says she got a better view than some of the referees got. And then this is how she comes and cries on TV about the criticism she got. How dare people on social media call her.
This is what really got people talking online. Someone took the original sideline angle and placed it right next to her later press conference quote, breaking it down frame by frame. It's genuinely hard to watch that comparison and walk away thinking she truly missed the play. Her head doesn't move. Her eyes tracked the entire play from start to finish. Whatever she saw happen on that court, she saw it exactly as it happened, not 3 days later on a highlight reel. So, why change the story? Most obvious explanation is the one a lot of people didn't want to say out loud, even though it was sitting right there in plain sight. Stephanie White coached DJ Carrington and knows her personally. Once the backlash reached a level she could no longer ride out, protecting that relationship became more important than staying up front about what she actually witnessed.
I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back. I ride with them 10 toes down all the time. All the time. They know that. It's a shame that we can't have an opportunity to talk about what great basketball they're playing. Because they are f***ing playing. The reality is, with me, I will always lead with love. I will always lead with grace. I will always lead with humility. And I will always lead with integrity. Doesn't mean I'll always get it right. I'm also human. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will.
This is the part that exposes the contradiction most clearly. And it's the moment that really lit the fuse online. During that same stretch of press conferences, White raised her voice at the podium and told everyone in the room and everyone watching from home that she stands by her players no matter what, that she rides with them regardless of what anybody else outside that locker room has to say about it. It sounded genuinely passionate. It sounded like a coach drawing a hard line in defense of her entire roster against outside noise. But stand by which players exactly? Because the player who actually got hurt on that specific play is also one of hers. Sophie Cunningham wears the exact same jersey. She's on the same roster, in the same locker room, under the same head coach every single day at practice. If loyalty is supposed to run in both directions equally, that same passionate energy should have shown up the moment Cunningham needed her own coach to say the hit looked exactly as bad as it did, not 3 full days late, and only after the internet forced the issue into the open.